You walk into a room wearing a wrinkled shirt, scuffed shoes, and the same tired look every other guy has. People glance at you, then immediately look away. No second glance, no curiosity, no respect. You are invisible. Now picture this. You walk into that same room, but this time your posture is different. Your shoes shine, your jacket fits like it was made for you. Suddenly, people turn. They hold eye contact. They want to know who you are. What changed? Not your bank account, not your job title, your etiquette, your understanding of the silent rules that separate boys from men. And here is what nobody tells you. These rules are dying. Your father might have taught them to his generation. Schools used to enforce them. Society once demanded them. But today, most men have no idea they even exist. They show up to dinner parties empty-handed. They scroll on their phones while someone is speaking. They dress like they just rolled out of bed and wonder why nobody takes them seriously. And that ignorance costs them. Jobs they deserved, relationships they wanted, respect they craved. Because here is the truth. Etiquette is not about being polite. It is about power. It is the invisible language of success, the code that opens doors, builds trust, and signals to the world that you are a man who understands how things work. And if you do not speak that language, you will always be on the outside looking in. So today, I'm going to share 10 etiquette rules that every gentleman must obey. Not suggestions, not options, requirements. These are the rules that separate the men who command respect from the men who beg for it, the men who walk into a room and own it from the men who fade into the background. And if you're watching this, you already know which category you want to be in. But before we dive in, let me ask you something. Have you ever walked into an event and immediately felt underdressed? Not because your clothes were cheap, but because you just did not understand the dress code. Have you ever been the guy at the table who started eating before everyone else and suddenly realized every eye was on you? These moments stick with you, they burn, and they happen because nobody taught you the rules. But that ends today. If you want to become a man who understands elegance, who uses etiquette as a weapon, who walks through life with confidence and authority, then hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on the notifications. Leave a like if you are serious about transforming your image, your reputation, and your success, because what I am about to share will change the way people see you forever. Let me take you back to 2010. A young lawyer named Michael walked into a partner meeting at a prestigious New York law firm. He had the credentials, Harvard Law, top of his class, brilliant legal mind. But when he sat down, the senior partner barely acknowledged him. Why? Because Michael showed up in a rumpled suit, no tie, and shoes that looked like they had survived a wartime. He thought his work would speak for itself, and maybe it did, but nobody listened. Because before anyone hears what you have to say, they see who you are, and if what they see does not command respect, your words mean nothing. Etiquette is not about being stuffy or old-fashioned. It is about understanding that the world judges you in seconds, and those seconds determine everything, your career, your relationships, your legacy. So what are these 10 rules, and why do they matter so much? Let us start with the first one. A gentleman never shows up empty-handed. You get invited to a dinner party, a birthday celebration, even just a casual hangout at a friend's house. What do you bring? If your answer is nothing, you have already failed. Showing up empty-handed says one thing. You do not value the person who invited you. It says you think their time, their effort, their hospitality is free, and nothing in life is free. Everything has a cost. And when someone opens their home to you, the cost is your gratitude. So you bring a gift, not something expensive, not something extravagant, something thoughtful. A bottle of wine, a box of chocolates, a small plant. It does not matter what it is. What matters is that you thought about them before you walked through that door. And here is the key. When you hand them that bottle of wine, you do not expect them to serve it that night. You say, "Here is one for your cellar." Because a true gentleman understands that the gift is not about him. It is about showing appreciation. But why does this matter? Because people remember how you make them feel, and when you show up with a gift, you make them feel valued, seen, respected. And that feeling, that is what builds relationships. That is what opens doors. That is what separates you from every other guy who just shows up expecting to be entertained. Now let us talk about the second rule. A gentleman always waits for everyone to receive their meal before he starts eating. You are at a restaurant. Your food arrives, it looks incredible, you are starving, but across the table your friend is still waiting for their dish. What do? If you pick up that fork and start eating, you have just told everyone at that table that your hunger is more important than their experience. You have made it about you, and a gentleman never makes it about him. Waiting 2 or 3 minutes will not kill you, but starting before everyone else, that kills the moment. It creates awkwardness. It breaks the flow of conversation, and it signals that you do not understand basic social dynamics. Now, there are exceptions. If you are at a massive wedding with 200 people, you do not wait for everyone. You wait for the people around you. If the host insists you start eating while they finish cooking, you follow their lead. But in most situations, you wait. Because etiquette is not about rules for the sake of rules. It is about making other people feel comfortable. And when people feel comfortable around you, they trust you, they like you, they want you around. And that is power. But here is where it gets interesting, because etiquette is not just about what you do, it is about what you do not do. And that brings us to rule number 3. A gentleman knows his place and never forces an invite. You hear about a party, a dinner, a weekend trip, and you were not invited. It stings. You wonder why. You think about asking if you can come. Do not. Because forcing yourself into a social situation where you were not invited is one of the most uncomfortable things you can do, not just for you, for everyone. Maybe the host has a limited number of seats. Maybe the event is for close friends only. Maybe they just did not think of you. It does not matter. A gentleman does not beg for inclusion. He creates his own opportunities. He builds his own circle. He understands that trying to force your way into someone else's plans reeks of desperation. And desperation is the opposite of elegance. So what do you do instead? You focus on being the kind of man people want to invite. You build strong relationships. You add value to every interaction. You become someone people think of first, not someone who has to remind them you exist. And when you do that, the invitations come, naturally, effortlessly, because people want you there. Not because you asked, but because you earned it. Now let us move to rule number 4. A gentleman always offers to remove his shoes when entering someone's home. This one is simple, but most men get it wrong. You walk into someone's house. Do you take off your shoes? Some people have a shoes-off home, others do not care. But here is the thing. You do not know until you ask, so you always offer. You say, "Should I take off my shoes?" If they say no, great, you keep them on. If they say yes, you take them off, no hesitation, no complaint. And if your shoes are muddy, wet, or dirty, you insist on removing them, even if they say it is fine. Because etiquette is about reading the situation and respecting boundaries. And when you respect someone's home, you respect them. It is that simple. But here is the deeper truth. These small gestures add up. They build a reputation, they create an image, and over time, that image becomes your identity. You become the guy who always shows up prepared, who always thinks ahead, who always makes people feel respected, and that guy gets invited back, over and over again. Now we arrive at rule number 5. A gentleman knows how to make a proper toast. You are at dinner, someone raises a glass, they want to toast. What do? You make eye contact, you clink glasses, and you repeat the toast, to friendship, to success, to Maria, whatever it is. But here is what most men miss. The eye contact matters. In many cultures, especially in Eastern Europe, failing to make eye contact during a toast is considered deeply disrespectful. It is a small gesture, but it carries weight. Because a toast is not just about drinking, it is about connection. It is about acknowledging the moment, the people, the celebration. And when you do it right, you strengthen bonds, you show that you are present, that you care. And that makes people want to be around you. So the next time someone raises a glass, do not just clink and drink. Look them in the eye, say the words, mean them, because that moment matters, and so do you. Now we get to rule number 6, and this one is big. Dressing well is simply good manners. You walk into a nice restaurant wearing a t-shirt and flip-flops. You think it does not matter. After all, you are there to eat, not to impress anyone. Wrong. Because dressing well is not about impressing people, it is about respecting them. It is about respecting the establishment. It is about respecting yourself. When you show up to a formal event in casual clothes, you are saying, I do not care about this. I do not care about you. I do not care about the effort everyone else put in. And that is rude. Style is subjective, but effort is not. And when you make an effort with your appearance, people notice. They treat you better. They take you seriously. They assume you are someone worth knowing. So here is the rule. Always dress appropriately for the occasion. Going to a wedding, wear a suit. Going to a funeral, navy or charcoal. Nothing flashy. Going to a nice restaurant? At minimum, a collared shirt, polo or dress shirt. No t-shirts, no sneakers. And if you are married, help your wife choose an elegant dress and heels when the situation calls for it. Because when you both show up looking sharp, you command respect as a unit. But here is the thing that nobody talks about. Dressing well is not just about the clothes. It is about the details. And that brings us to rule number 7. A gentleman never leaves home without ironed clothes. You own a beautiful dress shirt, expensive fabric, perfect fit, but you pull it out of the closet and it is covered in wrinkles. What do? If you wear it anyway, you have ruined the entire look. Because wrinkled clothes say one thing, I do not care. And if you do not care about your appearance, why should anyone care about you? Ironing takes 5 minutes, maybe 10 if you are doing multiple shirts, but that small effort makes a massive difference. A crisp, ironed shirt signals discipline, attention to detail, self-respect. And those qualities, they open doors. So here is what I recommend. Every Sunday, iron all your shirts for the week. Make it a ritual. Put on some music. Pour yourself a drink and take care of your wardrobe. Because when you take care of your clothes, you take care of yourself. And when you take care of yourself, the world takes notice. But ironing is just the beginning. Because etiquette goes deeper than appearance. It is about how you move through the world, how you treat people, how you handle situations. And that brings us to rule number 8. A gentleman respects other people's time. You make plans to meet someone at 7. You show up at 7:15. No big deal, right? Wrong. Because when you show up late, you are saying, my time is more valuable than yours. You are saying, I do not respect you enough to be on time. And that is unforgivable. A gentleman is always on time. Not early, not late. On time. If something comes up, he communicates. He sends a message. He lets the other person know. Because respect is not just about what you say. It is about what you do. And showing up on time is one of the simplest, most powerful ways to show respect. So stop making excuses. Stop saying traffic was bad or you could not find parking. Plan ahead. Leave earlier. Respect other people's time. Because when you do, they respect yours. Now let us talk about rule number 9. A gentleman knows how to listen. You are in a conversation. Someone is telling you a story, and halfway through you interrupt with your own story. You think you are being engaging. You think you are adding to the conversation. But what you're actually doing is stealing their moment, because listening is not about waiting for your turn to talk. It is about being present, about understanding, about making the other person feel heard. And when you interrupt, you rob them of that. So here is the rule. When someone is speaking, you listen. You do not check your phone. You do not look around the room. You do not plan what you are going to say next. You focus. You engage. You ask follow-up questions, because people remember how you make them feel, and when you make someone feel heard, they trust you, they like you, they want to be around you, and that is the foundation of every strong relationship. But there is one more rule, and this one ties everything together. Rule number 10. A gentleman takes responsibility for his actions. You make a mistake. You say something you should not have said. You forget an important date. You mess up. What do? You own it. You apologize. You make it right. Because a gentleman does not make excuses. He does not blame others. He does not deflect. He takes responsibility. And that is what separates him from everyone else. Because anyone can talk a big game. Anyone can dress well and show up on time. But only a true gentleman has the courage to admit when he is wrong, to apologize without defensiveness, to learn from his mistakes and do better next time. And that quality, that is rare, that is valuable. That is what makes you unforgettable. So there you have it, 10 etiquette rules that every gentleman must obey. Not because they are old-fashioned, not because they are arbitrary, but because they work. They build respect. They create opportunities. They transform how people see you. And if you want to be a man who commands respect, who walks into any room with confidence, who understands the silent language of success, then you need to master these rules. So let me ask you, how many of these rules are you already following? How many have you been ignoring? And more importantly, what are you going to do about it? Because knowing the rules is not enough. You have to live them every single day. And if you are ready to take that step, if you are ready to transform your etiquette, your image, and your life, then I want you to do something right now. Subscribe to this channel. Leave a like if you are serious about becoming a man of elegance and power, and consider becoming a member of our exclusive club. For just $4.99 per month, you get access to behind-the-scenes content, priority support, and a community of men who are on the same journey as you. Click that join button below and become part of something bigger. So here is what we covered today. A gentleman never shows up empty-handed. He waits for everyone to be served before eating. He never forces an invite. He offers to remove his shoes. He knows how to toast properly. He dresses appropriately. He irons his clothes. He respects other people's time. He knows how to listen, and he takes responsibility for his actions. These rules are not complicated, but they are powerful. And when you follow them, you become the kind of man people respect, admire, and want to be around. So here is my challenge to you. Pick one rule from this video, just one, and commit to mastering it this week. Maybe it is showing up on time. Maybe it is ironing your shirts. Maybe it is learning how to toast properly. Whatever it is, do it, and then come back next week and pick another one. Because elegance is not built overnight. It is built one decision at a time, one action at a time, one moment at a time. And if you commit to this process, if you take it seriously, I promise you this, your life will change. People will treat you differently. Opportunities will come your way, and you will walk through the world with a confidence you have never felt before. So what are you waiting for? Let me know in the comments. Etiquette equals power. Do you agree? And do not forget to subscribe and leave a like if you want to be a gentleman who commands respect in every room he enters. I will see you in the next one.